Chosen ones, the scales of justice have tilted. An injustice committed against you years ago, one so brazenly swept aside, is now being rectified by forces beyond ordinary reach. Time has passed, but truth maintains a relentless memory, tracking down every hidden deceit and dragging it firmly into the light. The wheels have turned, shifting you from victim to victor, and the legacy of betrayal once hovering over your head now collapses under the unstoppable momentum of divine correction. Prepare yourself. This moment marks the definitive restoration of your dignity and honor. Every silent suffering, every overlooked wrongdoing is finally addressed with authority and finality. Justice delayed was never justice denied. It was simply gathering strength to deliver a blow powerful enough to rewrite your history. Financial restoration approaches with the speed and force of a divine lightning bolt. Resources that rightfully belong in your possession will find their way back through unexpected channels. Abundance that was diverted through nefarious schemes will be redirected to your doorstep. The universe abhors the vacuum created by theft, and that vacuum will be filled with interest compounded by divine mathematics. A prominent figure stands positioned at the crossroads of your destiny. This individual carries influence beyond ordinary measure. Whether they realize it yet or not, they have been cosmically appointed as an instrument of your restoration. Their power, their platform, their position, all will serve as the mechanism through which your vindication materializes in the physical realm. Their involvement ensures that what happens next cannot be dismissed, cannot be minimized, cannot be swept away. The truth about what was perpetrated against you prepares to burst forth like magma through fractured earth. No containment will hold it back, no cover-up will suppress it, no misdirection will divert its course. The revelation comes with such force and clarity that even the most determined skeptics will stand shocked into silence. What was whispered in secret chambers will be proclaimed from digital mountaintops. What was plotted in encrypted messages will be displayed on screens, seen by thousands. Those who orchestrated your suffering now sit in the crosshairs of cosmic justice. They sense something shifting, but cannot identify the source. They feel the ground becoming unstable beneath their feet, but cannot pinpoint where the tremors originate. The false security they've constructed around themselves has already begun to disintegrate, though they desperately attempt to patch the spreading cracks. Their schemes against you were more elaborate than you currently realize. Multiple layers of deception, multiple participants, multiple motivations converging around a single target, you. Some acted from jealousy of your natural gifts, others from fear of what you represent. Still others from blind obedience to darker forces they themselves barely comprehend. Together they formed a temporary alliance against the light you carry. But alliances built on darkness inevitably collapse. Already, factions have formed among your adversaries. Paranoia spreads like contagion through their ranks. Trust disintegrates, as each begins to suspect others of betrayal, and rightly so, because among them stands one whose conscience has awakened, one who can no longer bear the weight of what was done, one who prepares to break ranks and speak truths that were never meant to be uttered outside their circle. Evidence of their actions emerges from unexpected sources. Digital breadcrumbs they thought long erased. Witnesses they believed permanently silenced. Paper trails they assumed were destroyed. Communications they trusted were encrypted beyond recovery. All rise to the surface now, forming an undeniable constellation of proof that connects every dot, illuminates every shadow, and reveals every participant. The public revelation approaches with the unstoppable momentum of an avalanche. When it breaks, the velocity of information will overwhelm any attempt at damage control. The carefully constructed narratives they've used to define themselves will shatter against the hard surface of documented fact. The personae they've cultivated will dissolve under the harsh light of exposed reality. They will stand naked before the world, stripped of pretense, their true nature revealed for all to witness. Some among them will attempt desperate measures to maintain their facade, threats against those who speak out, emergency damage control through friendly media channels, hastily constructed counter-narratives. None will succeed. The truth comes with too much force, too much evidence, too much resonance with what others have experienced at their hands. Their time of reckoning has arrived, scheduled by forces beyond their comprehension or control. Understand this fundamental truth. You survived because you were meant to survive. The assault against you would have destroyed someone of lesser spiritual constitution. The coordinated attack would have shattered someone with a weaker connection to source energy. The psychological warfare would have broken someone less anchored to their divine purpose. Your enemies never understood who they were truly dealing with. They saw only the physical form, the social status, the material circumstances. They remained blind to the spiritual lineage you carry, the ancestral power flowing through your veins, the divine appointment that preceded your birth into this time and place. Their perception extended only to the visible realm, while your essence extends far beyond it. Throughout the darkest periods, invisible guardians maintained their stations around you. When attacks intensified, their ranks increased. When human allies abandoned you, spiritual reinforcements arrived. When earthly doors closed, cosmic windows opened. You were never truly isolated, never genuinely vulnerable, never actually defenseless, though at times it certainly felt that way. The attempts to spiritually compromise you failed spectacularly. Energy weapons directed toward your consciousness dissipated against shields you didn't even know you possessed. Curses intended to derail your path boomeranged back to their senders with amplified force. Attachments meant to cloud your discernment found no energetic footholds in your field. Your innate spiritual immune system recognized and rejected every intrusion, every manipulation, every psychic parasite deployed against you. The following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom. You didn't just survive your past, you were refined by it. Every betrayal, every psychic attack, every night you thought you wouldn't make it, that wasn't random. That was the forge. And now, the blade is ready. Inside the Obsidian Inner Order, we gather each week on live Zoom calls. And yes, they're recorded, so when you're down in the pit, you can still tap the signal. You'll meet divine warrior goddesses who walk with ancestral fire in their spines, masculine healers who carry prophecy in their silence, a former military drone operator who now moves matter with his thoughts, a seer from Utah who broke free of Mormonism to become a Gnostic, a psychic in Noosa who used to be a millionaire, CFO, a spiritual healer who clawed their way out of a satanic cult and now channels light like a weapon. These aren't stories, they're your future reflections. If you've ever felt like you were meant for something more, it's because you are. The field is open, the war is real, the circle is waiting. Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. Thank you all for supporting the broadcast. We quite literally could not do this without you. Your resilience confounded them. They expected you to crumble under pressure, to surrender to despair, to accept their fabricated version of reality. Instead, you stood firm in your truth, even when standing alone. You maintained your integrity, even when compromise would have offered temporary relief. You honored your inner knowing, even when gaslighting made you question your own perceptions. This persistence wasn't merely admirable, it was supernatural. Even now, As the justice phase activates, your spiritual protection intensifies. Guides who previously operated behind the scenes now move closer to your conscious awareness. Synchronicities multiply around you, confirming you're on the right path. Dreams deliver messages with increasing clarity. Intuitive hits arrive with pinpoint accuracy. These aren't coincidences or psychological phenomena. They represent the thinning of the veil between you and your divine support team as they move into position for this critical phase of your journey. One who participated in the campaign against you now approaches with transformed consciousness. Their eyes have opened to the true nature of what they joined. Their heart has awakened to the magnitude of harm they helped inflict. Their soul has begun the painful process of confronting their own darkness. This awakening didn't happen randomly. It was scheduled in the divine timetable that governs your journey. This individual carries crucial information. They have witnessed the inner workings of the effort against you. They possess documents, recordings, participant names, meeting dates, financial records, and communication threads that connect all involved parties. Their testimony completes the puzzle, providing the framework that makes all other evidence comprehensible in its full, horrifying scope. Their approach may come disguised as coincidence, a random encounter, an unexpected communication, a spontaneous confession. Recognize it for what it truly is, a divinely orchestrated opportunity for truth to emerge. This person trembles with the weight of what they know, struggles with the fear of what revealing it might cost them, yet finds themselves driven by a compulsion they cannot resist to move towards setting things right. Exercise wisdom in this interaction. Neither naive trust nor rigid suspicion serves you here. Instead, maintain centered awareness as you receive what they offer. Verify all claims, secure all evidence, create records of every exchange. The information they provide isn't for your eyes alone. It forms a critical component of the larger revelation unfolding for many to witness. Handle it with the gravity it deserves. Their reconciliation attempt represents something larger than this single relationship. It signals the beginning of a broader pattern as those who aligned against you begin to face the consequences of their choices. Some will follow this path of acknowledgement and atonement. Others will double down, deny reality, and accelerate their own downfall. Each chooses their fate through how they respond when truth lays bare their actions. This approaching figure serves as both witness and warning, demonstrating that consciousness can transform while simultaneously confirming that actions generate consequences that must eventually be faced. Their journey from darkness toward light mirrors a process unfolding on multiple levels, from individual psyches to collective systems, as old paradigms of deception crumble under the weight of emerging truth. The justice arriving in your life transcends mere revenge. This isn't about punishment alone, but restoration on multiple levels. Material resources return, reputation rehabilitates, relationships realign, opportunities reappear. Doors previously closed swing open with astonishing synchronicity. The universe delivers comprehensive compensation for all that was unjustly taken. Financial restoration forms just one aspect of this cosmic correction. Watch for unexpected sources, settlements, inheritances, investments suddenly paying returns, debts being forgiven, opportunities arriving with extraordinary timing. The abundance flows not from a place of lack, compensating lack, but from the infinite supply, recognizing where flow was artificially blocked and re-establishing proper circulation. Prepare yourself for the emotional impact when justice manifests. The validation of your experience after years of denial and gaslighting may trigger unexpected responses. Vindication can sometimes destabilize as much as the original injury when your system releases the tension of having held your truth alone for so long. Allow these emotions their full expression. They represent the necessary clearing of energetic residue before new foundations can be established. Your reputation undergoes divine rehabilitation. The narrative crafted to discredit you unravels thread by thread as truth emerges. Those who distance themselves return with new understanding. Those who questioned your account now see with clarity. Your vindication happens not through your own defense, but through the inevitable collapse of deception under its own weight, leaving your truth as the last narrative standing. Throughout this restoration process, maintain the spiritual sovereignty that carried you through the darkest periods. Neither gloating over the fall of adversaries nor attaching your worth to external validation serves your highest evolution. Instead, receive what returns to you as the natural restoration of cosmic balance while keeping your focus on the renewed purpose this cleared path now enables you to pursue. This resolution phase serves as the closing of one significant soul chapter and the opening of another. The lessons, though brutal in their delivery, have forged something extraordinary within you, capacities for discernment that cannot be taught. Through gentle means, spiritual muscles developed through resistance, compassion deepened through direct experience of injustice, wisdom earned through navigating treacherous terrain, these transformed aspects of self now stand ready for deployment, in service to your next-level mission. What happened to you was never random, never accidental, never without profound meaning. Your experience forms part of a larger pattern unfolding across the collective consciousness at this pivotal moment in human history. The attack against you targeted the specific frequency you carry, a frequency that threatens outdated systems built on deception and control. Throughout human history, those who carried certain spiritual signatures have faced systematic opposition from forces invested in limiting human potential. Your experiences connect you to an ancient lineage of light-bearers who faced similar resistance in their times. The methods evolve, from literal witch hunts to modern sophisticated psychological operations, but the underlying dynamic remains consistent. Light threatens darkness by its mere presence. The justice manifesting in your personal sphere reverberates far beyond your individual circumstances. It represents one node in a vast network of similar corrections, occurring simultaneously across the collective experience. Each case of truth emerging, each instance of deception exposed, each example of cosmic balance restored, contributes to a fundamental recalibration happening on planetary levels. This larger context explains the intensity of resistance you encountered. Your adversaries sensed, even if unconsciously, that allowing your light to shine unimpeded threatened something beyond their personal interests. They recognized in you a frequency that catalyzes awakening in others, that stimulates questioning of artificial limitations, that activates dormant DNA sequences carrying evolutionary codes. Their reaction, while directed at you personally, responded to what you represent in the greater evolutionary scheme. Now, as justice arrives in your sphere, it serves as both vindication and activation. The public nature of your restoration acts as permission for others facing similar circumstances to hold firm in their truth. The visible evidence of cosmic balance in your situation strengthens the faith of many waiting for signs that justice remains possible in a world that often suggests otherwise. Your experience becomes both personal healing and collective medicine. The energies now converging around your situation demand heightened awareness and strategic positioning. This isn't a time for passive waiting, but for active preparation. The justice arriving carries potent transformative potential that requires clear intention to direct toward its highest expression. First, solidify your energetic foundations. Daily spiritual practice becomes non-negotiable during this intense transitional phase. Meditation clears the channels for precise guidance. Energy maintenance prevents opportunistic attachments during the fluctuations ahead. Boundary reinforcement protects your field as visibility increases. These practices aren't spiritual luxuries, but practical necessities as you navigate the powerful currents now activating. Second, prepare your practical affairs for significant transition. Documents organized, communications secured, financial accounts reviewed, legal counsel identified if needed. The material world requires attention to detail as it realigns with spiritual truth. The incoming energies flow more smoothly when artificial obstructions from mundane neglect have been cleared from their path. Third, clarify your vision for what rises from the ashes of the old. Justice creates cleared space. What will you build there? Restoration provides resources. How will you direct them? Vindication offers credibility. Where will you focus it? The universe doesn't orchestrate this massive correction simply to return you to previous circumstances, but to launch you into expanded purpose. Have clarity about that purpose before the full force of supportive energy arrives. Fourth, identify the specific team assembling around you for this next phase. Some are returning allies, wiser now about the nature of what you faced. Others are new connections, drawn by resonance with your emerging purpose. Still others operate primarily from non-physical dimensions, accessible through your expanded awareness. Together, they form the specialized support configuration precisely calibrated for your next-level function. Fifth, cleanse your spaces of lingering energetic residue from the period of injustice. Your physical environment holds impressions of past trauma that can anchor outdated frequencies. Sacred smoke, sound cleansing, salt baths, crystal grids. Deploy whatever resonates with your spiritual understanding. The physical locations where you'll receive your restoration must vibrate at frequencies compatible with what approaches. Your home, workspace, vehicle, and even frequently visited locations benefit from intentional energetic renovation before the massive influx of corrective energy arrives. Remember that physical spaces serve as conduits for spiritual forces, and cluttered, stagnant, or negatively charged environments create resistance to the positive transformation rushing toward you. Clear the way for what rightfully returns. The timing of this message is not coincidental. It arrives precisely as the final countdown initiates. The wheels have been set in motion, the pieces have been positioned, the energy has built to critical mass. What happens next unfolds with the precision of cosmic clockwork, calibrated to the millisecond by intelligences operating beyond the limitations of human scheduling. April stands as the designated window when long invisible processes suddenly manifest in visible reality, the month when private truths become public knowledge, the period when carefully constructed facades collapse under the weight of emergent fact, the time when what was done in darkness faces the unfiltered light of collective witness. Watch for unmistakable signs that activation has commenced. Dreams intensify with specific warnings and guidance. Synchronicities multiply beyond statistical probability. Physical symptoms signal major energetic clearings and upgrades. Unexpected communications arrive from people connected to the original events. News breaks regarding similar situations elsewhere, foreshadowing what approaches in your own sphere. Those responsible already feel the mounting pressure, though they cannot identify its source. Their systems register the approaching reckoning. Their subconscious minds process the inevitable confrontation with consequence. Their bodies absorb the stress of maintaining deceptions that grow increasingly unstable. Their alliances fracture as individual survival instincts override group loyalty. Your role during this countdown period requires strategic balance between action and allowance. Certain preparations fall to you: documentation secured, communications monitored, support systems activated. Yet much unfolds through divine orchestration, requiring your conscious non-interference. Discernment between where to act and where to allow becomes the critical skill during this transitional phase. The universe has invested tremendous resources in bringing this moment of correction to your timeline. Multidimensional interventions, angelic deployments, ancestral activations, timeline adjustments, reality restructuring on quantum levels, all converging around the restoration of balance in your personal sphere as one crucial aspect of a much larger rebalancing operation unfolding across the collective experience. Stand ready, stand firm, stand in the unshakable knowledge that what was meant to destroy you has instead prepared you for a level of function, impact and purpose that your adversaries cannot begin to comprehend. Their greatest mistake was failing to recognize who they were truly dealing with. Their limited perception saw only your human form, while missing entirely the vast spiritual architecture you represent. The justice approaching arrives not from human courts alone, though they may play their part. It comes not from social opinion alone, though that will reflect the shifting reality. It emerges not from any single authority or institution or individual, though these may serve as its instruments. It originates from the fundamental operating system of reality itself, where balance represents not merely a preference, but an absolute requirement, where harmony eventually reasserts, regardless of how long or how severely it has been violated. Your vindication was never in question, only its timing. That timing has now been set. That countdown has now begun. That restoration now approaches with unstoppable momentum. An injustice that was committed against you several years ago is being made right. Not might be. Not could be. Is being made right through cosmic mechanisms already activated beyond the possibility of deactivation. Prepare to receive what rightfully returns to you. Prepare to witness what necessarily reveals itself. Prepare to step into what purposefully awaits your liberated presence. The waiting ends. The restoration begins. The path clears. The mission activates. The universe has spoken, and so it shall be.